What's good, people? We are back in the house, back with another show, and back on the channel. It is myself and my guest, who I absolutely love and adore. It's Husam. Back in the building, back on the channel. How are you, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me. Big up everyone in the chat. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you guys are subscribing. You get me? This is the stream here. That was set up a time ago. I don't think he was expecting to lose against Porto. Um, before he invited me. But anyway, we're out here. Big up to you guys. Big up everyone in the chat as well.
Well, listen, we might as well do the two results together because we both played last night. My phone was going nuts last night, man. Boom, Liverpool losing. Boom, Liverpool 1-0 down. Boom, Luton are beating Liverpool. And I'm like, I don't care. I honestly do not care. All I want is for Arsenal to win tonight. Now, I'd be lying if I said I didn't care a bit because obviously when Luton go 1-0 up, you start to think, oh, really? And I saw the Liverpool team and I thought, interesting. Few players out. Could they do the unthinkable? But too difficult at Anfield, in my opinion. So we'll get your thoughts on that in a minute, but we may as well start with Arsenal. I guess you watched that game and didn't see much of the Arsenal game in terms of the 90 minutes, but I guess you saw what happened and watched some of it. What did you make of it before I go on my rant? Because last night people on my channel were, oh, cry baby, chill out. It's only one leg, blah, blah, blah. It was poor, man. What did you think, bro?
First of all, you're one of the more honest Arsenal fans. If this is one of the delusional ones, then he'd have a long stream with me, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, I saw people getting upset with the way Porto set up. I saw people get upset with all that stuff. This is just regular. This is just regular European night. You know how many teams parked the bus against us over the last 6-7 years? How many defenses we unlocked to get to 3 Champions League finals? Many defenses we unlocked. So for me, Porto just done what all the teams that are in the Champions League do. You're not going to come as Arsenal Football Club to the Dragao and expect to have an open, flowing game. I'm not like gonna be just do the typical stuff and start talking about heritage and stuff like that because I feel like that's weak. I look more at what Arsenal done on the pitch, and obviously I didn't watch the game. Funnily enough, as soon as I switched on my TV, like 2 minutes later, Porto scored. I'm like, okay. But according to the Arsenal fans that I spoke to and the stuff that I've seen, Arsenal didn't even have one shot on target, which is obviously not a good thing for any team trying to win any game of football. You cannot have 0 shots on target if you're trying to win a game of football. And I think this is actually one of the bigger problem with Arsenal, like in terms of an overall perspective under Arteta, is I think your front line doesn't take enough risks. There comes a point in time where it's like 50th, 60th minute, you've got to go like, F this, I'm going to take a shot on goal, couldn't care less about tapping it in the back of the net. And you look at both our sides and we kind of have completely different thought processes on how we play football. Like Jurgen Klopp likes a bit more chaotic stuff. Like he likes a bit more, the wingers when they are given freedom, the striker given freedom, to express themselves, just kind of do whatever you want. Obviously, like Arteta is a student of Pep Guardiola. That's why you see maybe a winger like Doku struggling a little bit under Pep Guardiola, which he wouldn't struggle under Klopp the same, because Klopp would allow him more to express himself, take risks and stuff like that. And I think the thing is, like, we've seen the Arsenal wingers take risks. We've seen the 6-0. We've seen the 5-0. We've seen Arsenal cook. I just don't understand why they just don't do it a bit more regularly. It seems like it was yesterday one of those games where Arsenal are just trying to tap it into the back of the net. You're not going to score the perfect goal every time. Sometimes you might get a deflection with a shot from far. Sometimes you might get something like that. A center back scores an own goal or whatever. You just got to try to be able to score goals, in a different way, to be honest with you. And I think that's Arsenal's biggest problem, in my opinion. Like, think about it this way. The West Ham game, if Declan Rice doesn't take that shot, it's not one of the goals of the season. It's not a goal everyone's talking about if he doesn't attempt it. Sometimes you've got to attempt crazy things, take risks in order to win games of football.
Well, this is why I like getting you on, Sam, because it's like kind of agree with most of what you've said, bro. I can't lie. I just looked at the game last night and I thought, why have we gone back to this, man? Like, why are we shitting ourselves against Porto? Like, let's be real. If we were going to the Bernabeu or even if we were going to the Etihad, I can understand changing our style a little bit, right? But why could we not have taken the game to Porto? Why could we have not have actually played the way that we did against Burnley and West Ham? Oh, because it's different opposition, it's a different competition. It doesn't work like that. We don't know if it doesn't work like that because we didn't even try. 0 shots on target, bro. That is an embarrassment. And people will sit there and say, it's not Arteta, it's the players, they weren't trying. Saka and Martinelli weren't good enough. Erdegaard and Trossard weren't good enough. We heard all this before, bro, when we were actually playing this controlled possession-based football. We dominate teams possession-wise, we don't create enough, and we lose games of football. And that's exactly what happened last night. Now, that proves to me that it's a manager thing, not a player thing. The manager has
Yep.
told Saka and Martinelli, be a little bit careful tonight. Don't go gung ho. When you get the ball, try and keep it calm. And what did we see? Every time Martinelli got the ball, he went back to Havertz or Kivior. Every time Saka,
Mhm.
we went back to Erdegaard or Ben White. There was no taking players on. There was no cutting inside. Erdegaard kept the ball moving, but he wasn't really creating anything. Trossard was pretty much non-existent other than 2 shots he had. One which was great technique but went over, and the other one that was miles over because he leant back. That was all he did. Martinelli was so poor. And on top of that, the naivety of this team shone through last night. And the naivety of the manager shone through. Because the arrogance to have a 41-year-old centre back in Pepe, who's older than our manager, by the way, right? And not to even test him, that's poor. Bro, that's really poor. With the pace and power and technical ability of Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka, and for Pepe not even to get tested, for us not even to get close, that was poor. And then the goalkeeper comes out and winds the Arsenal fans up to start with by saying, well, if they're one of the favourites, they're going to have to prove it against us. Didn't even get shot against the goalkeeper. So he's laughing right now. The Porto manager then comes out and says after the game, well, they might have wanted to play, but we wanted to win. Facts. Absolute facts. And Arsenal fans are crying about it. Oh, that was a horrible thing to say. What? It was factual. We wanted to play football, pass it around, be dominant. Look at this possession we got. It's unbelievable. 1-0 we lose.
65%.
Embarrassing. I don't care, Husam. It was 1-0. We lost 1-0. Who cares
No,
about the
I'm
extra?
agreeing with you. Sometimes you have to let the ball go as well. I don't get what's this obsession with possession. Like it's just sometimes just let the ball go. By the way, we scored counterattack goals against Brentford, against Luton. Like why does it always have to be possession? Like that's the thing. Like Pep Guardiola is a sly fox because he's fooled the whole world into just doing Pep ball. And at the end of the day, there's the infamous saying of Allegri, who was very successful at Juventus winning all these league titles. He says sometimes you just have to let the ball go. Liverpool are willing to just let the ball go sometimes. That's why we score so many goals because we just give them the ball. How about as Arsenal go like Porto here? You can have the ball. I'm gonna counter attack you. Why is that a bad thing? You think Saliba and Gabriel can't handle like 3 Porto attacks? Yes, they can. But the difference is because they all attack, you have space in behind to run into. And I think that's the thing. Like this whole possession thing is so boring, man. Like we get it. You can pass left and right 700 times. No one cares. Let's attack a little bit. That's why I dislike this whole Pep ball thing. Like I just find it boring. And I say this to your face. I've said this multiple times. I actually find Arsenal boring to watch. Like I'm sorry, I really do. Like all this passing 500, 600 times. Congratulations, you can take the passing achievement. I like it when a team takes risks, has that thing about them.
100%. And, I'm in many WhatsApp groups of Gooners, and they were all saying to me last night, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. This is controlled. This is careful going into a second leg. Right? We're 1-0 down now. So the game plan didn't work, did it? Because we were trying to keep a clean sheet to go into the Emirates with another leg, thinking they're not winning. We're at home. Advantage Arsenal. That's fine. But if you're not going to keep your concentration until the 94th minute and going 1-0 down, then the game plan's gone out the window. Now, I wanted to ask you, Sam, what does this mean going forward for Arsenal? Not just in terms of the Premier League form, but in terms of the second leg, because a lot of media pundits, Arsenal fans, and some neutral fans are going, it doesn't mean nothing. Arsenal are still going to win. Arsenal are still going through. Do you share those kind of words, or are you looking at it thinking that Porto could do the damage here and actually dump us out of this competition?
I mean, first and foremost, you have to wait for your reaction against Newcastle because there is no easy game in this Premier League. I found that out being 1-0 down to Luton. If you tuned into my watch along first 45 minutes, you wouldn't have believed Liverpool are top of the league. I was so done. I was ready to I wanted Diaz sold. I wanted the guy. I was so mad. And with
I
New,
saw Flawless put something on Twitter where you was giving it to him or something. I didn't know what it was. He's like, "Whoa, what's that?"
100%. I was just like, listen, I was just had enough. Honestly, I had it. I was
You were done.
So done. And I think there is no easy game in the Premier League because same way Porto parked the bus, Newcastle could park the bus. So like it's just not that impossible, to be honest with you. But in terms of Porto, look, the one worrying thing for you is, and sorry to bring this back, this PTSD, but you did lose to Sporting Lisbon last season as well in the Europa League. So this has happened before. All it takes is one Raya mistake and one goal, from halfway line, like Ugarte done last season. To be honest with you, that was one of the craziest goals all competition long. I still would say, based on the fact that they're coming to the Emirates, Arsenal are probably going to end up going through, but they must use experiences like this as a learning curve, as a lesson for them. The reality is like when it comes to when it comes to what's their name, when it comes to Arsenal and the Champions League, lessons like this must be learned. Lessons like this must be learned. You cannot just shove like this, things like this to the side, results like this to the side. You must learn from it, because next round, if you draw a Benfica, or if you draw whoever, or if you draw, forget Portuguese clubs even, if you draw any club of let's say lower stature in Europe, you're always going to get that type of defense against you, because Porto are taking a 1-0 stinking win every single game from now till the end of the Champions League campaign. They couldn't care less about possession. It's just like I expect more from Arsenal, to be honest with you. Like, I think if you had left the Dragao with a 0-0 draw, wouldn't have been the end of the world, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it would have been a bad result or anything. But the fact that it's 1-0 to Porto makes it a bit more tricky, because also remember there's no away goals. So like that's something that works in your favor. That's why I'm saying, maybe them. I don't expect them to go through. I still expect Arsenal to go through. But your reaction against Newcastle this Saturday will be telling. It will be telling the reaction against Newcastle, to be honest with you. So we have to wait
It
and
will be,
see.
man.
100%.
On that quick away goals, I don't mind them going. I couldn't stand away goals. A lot of people thinks it's ruined the Champions League and all this crap. No, it hasn't. For me, it didn't make you more exciting to watch away from home. It made you more defensive at home. It was what I'd hated about it. Personally, I'm really happy that it's gone. And I said this, I think I was on with, I think it was on Straight Facts with LB, and we were arguing about it. And I said, and he was like, I hate it. I love away goals. I hate the fact they've dropped it. And I was like, so picture this scene. Arsenal and City are in the semi-final of the Champions League. At home, it's 2-2 at the Emirates. And away, it's 3-3 at the Etihad. Arsenal go through 5-5 on aggregate because of the away goal. Are you going to be happy with that? Oh, I wouldn't mind. Bullshit, would you mind? That is not fair. It's still a draw. It's still no one's won. Oh, but you won one more at our ground. It's still turf. It's still a pitch. It is a stadium. It doesn't matter where it happened. I just think it's mad. And I'm really glad that they've got rid of it, because I don't think it's a good thing. But what do you think, bro?
I'm for getting rid of the away goals. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think like you must beat a team outright, to be honest with you. Like, if you lost at Porto 2-1, it makes no sense that if you beat them 1-0, they go through, because it's the same, like it's about the same goal difference. I don't mind the away goals rule thing happening. I was actually one of the people that spoke up, and I was actually like for. Look, certain things in football do need to change. I think they're doing too much though, like with blue cards and all this crap.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they're just doing too much. But in terms of like away goals, I'm 100% for it going, because you've got to beat them outright for me. Now I see like maybe a certain teams being upset at that, like let's say an Atletico Madrid, because they could like maybe shit house a 1-1 at the Etihad type thing, like they're capable of doing that. So obviously it makes sense, but at the same time, why should your goal away from home count more than a goal at your own backyard? Like that never made sense to me, to be honest with you. So I'm okay with the away goals thing getting scrapped. I think that's the right decision, and it works in your favor anyway, because now Porto, you cannot beat Porto 2-1 and then Porto go through based on away goals. So yeah, that's what I'd say. I'm looking at this Arsenal thing, and I think Arsenal will go through, and I think Arsenal will beat Porto at the Emirates. And you should have beat them away from home. There's a club. You know, that has
Agreed.
won this competition 6 times, that beat Porto 5-0 away from home and
Thanks
beat
for
them
that, Husam.
5-1 away from home and beat them 4-0 away from home the other year. I'm just saying, we beat them 3 times. We met them, and it was a long day for them. But I'll tell you one thing about Porto, though. They cannot be underestimated because they have gotten a 0-0 draw. I believe it was once at Anfield. So they have done that before. Even
See,
though we were
we've
rested.
never beaten them away. We've only beaten them at home. And when we did beat them
Yep.
at home, it was 5-0. So, and I'm not saying it's going to be now because it was different back then. It was like 2010. Do you know who scored a hat trick that day? 2010? Nicholas Bentner. That's how bad they were. He got a hat trick. So that's how poor Porto were, right? So let's not get too excited. However, we should be beating them at home, man, 100%. Can I just bring up, there's a few super chats and a few comments, and I'm going to go into some questions to chuck at you. I did this with Saeed last week, and it was good fun. So I'm going to do the same with you. But this is probably one of the funniest comments I've ever read. I hope this is true, by the way. Apparently, Eric Dyer is unlikely to stay at Bayern Munich beyond the summer. There are doubts about his ability and his lack of pace.
That has to be the worst signing of like the entire decade, honestly. That just makes no sense, honestly. I still remember when we signed Stephen Cocker. Remember the QPR centre back? Stephen Cocker? We
yes.
signed him. And we played the striker as well. We actually fully brought him on as striker, like when club first started. I remember the game away at Norwich. We brought on Cocker at striker. He had the layoff header to Lallana. We won 5-4. Bro, that was vibes right there. But Harry Kane, you see this guy right here? Uncomfortable conversations. Let him go to Bayern Munich and return with 0 trophies. Oh, hilarious. My Lord. Oh,
Imagine.
my Lord. It's not even hilarious. It's actually sad. Because that just shows me, like, it's just, like, how do you... Because you could have played for Bayern Munich and won a trophy. I could have played for Bayern Munich and won a trophy at that point.
Mate, Choupo-Moting has got a trophy and Kane hasn't. I mean, listen, they're going to have to win. They're going to have to win the league because they're not going to win the Champions League playing the way they are. And they're going to have to try and catch up with Xabi Alonso's.
Oh, they're definitely not winning the Champions League. They're definitely not winning the Champions League. If you face Bayern, I would back Arsenal to beat Bayern. I really would.
Yeah,
I've not watched Bayern once this season and been impressed. I've not watched Bayern once this season and went like, oh my God, Bayern are so good. Those words have never left my mouth.
Even when they played Man United in the Champions
game, by the way. Bayern Munich versus United, remember? When they
that's what I was going to say. Shocking.
Yeah,
they were awful.
Shocking.
And Man United are shocking, man, as well. So, do you know what's funny though, right? If he gets the top goal scorer award, the trophy is like that thing on my wall, that cannon there. Have you seen the trophy that they get? It's absolutely beautiful. It actually is a cannon. It just basically looks like the Arsenal badge you'll be holding. Oh, it's class. I hope he gets that.
Harry Kane is never living this down. He's never living this down for the rest of his life.
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable. Let's put some of these super chats up. This comes in from Ham Barber. Says, it's not ours to lose. I hate overconfidence. Oh, okay. So this is coming on to Liverpool, which we'll do next in a minute. Big up, bro. This is from Chaitanya. Says, Arteta's and players' European inexperience was clear. Need a solid response versus Newcastle. Expect Partey to be on the bench at least. Not confident in the Champions League. Bro, I'm not confident in the Premier League or the Champions League. But
can I ask you a question, Dan?
Go on, bro.
Based on the super chat, why do you guys keep talking about Partey? I don't get it. Like, he never plays anyway. I actually, like, imagine I came on here and I was like, Dan, if Thiago Alcantara was fit, we'd win all 4 competitions. No problem. He's always injured. So what's the point? Like, why you guys keep mentioning
He is
Partey?
like Thiago, man. Thiago and Partey are just basically the same. It's like, what is the point of talking about him now? Like, it's like having a Rolls Royce and just keeping it in the garage and never bringing it out. Or if you do blast it out down the seafront on a weekend, expect no more than that. Like, that is what it is. Bro, it's just crazy.
You know what's funny? When they were both available, him and Rice, he played Partey right back. Can you explain that part to me? Like, why do people act? What pisses me off is one thing, okay? And this comes back to the super chat. What pisses me off is one thing. Why do people act when Partey was fit? He was going like Partey, Rice, double pivot. He never done that. It was literally Partey inverted right back. That's like, so like, are we saying Ben White gets dropped? This is a question I ask you as the Arsenal fan. Does Ben White get up? Because Ben White has been one of your better players this season. I think he's been very good this season. So, like, are you gonna drop Ben White to the bench when Partey comes
back? If he comes in and plays right back again, I am done. Like, I am completely and utterly done with Mikel. Like, if that actually happens, it is a disgrace, bro. Like, there is no way that he should be playing as a right back. Can you imagine? This guy cannot
But
keep
you know he's
fit.
not going to drop Havertz. It's the stubbornness. He's never dropping Havertz. He isn't.
He loves Havertz, man. He loves him. He wants this to work big time. To be fair, he's been a bit better lately, but he's still not for me. This one comes in. Do you know what? I'll get you to answer this in a minute because I've got a question on this for you. But big up for the super chat, bro. How do you feel about Alonso? We'll talk about him in a minute. Right, I've got some questions for you, bro. But before I throw them at you, last night's performance must have been pretty impressive for you, mate. Positive, because I looked at your team. I saw Kelleher, I saw Kwanzaa, I saw Harvey Elliott, I saw Gakpo, who I still don't think is good enough, but fair play last night was. And there was a couple others as well. And I'm like, Liverpool are gutted, man. Where the hell are all their players? So 4-1 must have been fairly pleasing for you, bro.
You know, headed into that game, we had 9 starters out. Konate, Robertson, Trent, Soboslai, Salah, Nunez, and Jota all were out. That front three, I'll be honest with you, that was looking dry as hell. I'm sorry, those three right there. And then there was a reason why I had no confidence. This is the first time we were 1-0 down in a half, and I just fully gave up. Yesterday was honestly my first breaking point. At halftime, when I brought on my halftime cavalry and we were just talking about the game, I was like, I actually fully believe Luton are going to win this game 1-0 here, because that front three was so dry and they kept missing chances, and I thought this team is BSing again. But in the second half, the hunger came back. Diaz and Gakpo looked in the mirror and went we're actually experienced internationals, and this is embarrassing. Let's actually step the F up, to be honest with you. And they stepped up. I think the Liverpool signing of the season this season has been McAllister. Absolute baller in midfield. It's probably his first maybe 4 or 5 games in a Liverpool shirt wasn't as good. Obviously, he was still adjusting to his DM role and all of that. But as soon as we give him time and he stepped up massively. I think he's been our best midfielder this whole year. He's been absolutely incredible, McAllister, and once again steps up. And you can see in the Liverpool celebration what it means to him. His face turned all red and stuff, and he was just going absolutely mental. And it was absolutely a game of 2 halves, because in the first half we actually missed clear gilt edge opportunities to score goals. We fully missed so many goal scoring opportunities, and I'm not talking about half opportunities. I'm talking about clear cut goal scoring opportunities. So I believe in the players in the second half stepped up. But look at this. People might not like this answer, but it's genuinely a real answer, to be honest with you. I think health is gonna dictate, honestly, who wins the league this season. Because this injury thing, I think I read an article 2 days ago. Injuries are up 40% this year. With muscles and stuff like that. Muscle injuries are really up this season. So if Liverpool can manage to keep players fit in key moments this season, at least, we definitely can win it. But we need Salah fit. We need Nunez fit. We need Jota fit. We need Soboslai fit. We need Virgil fit, Konate fit, Alisson fit. There are games this season where teams will step up against you. Prime example is our next Premier League game is Forest away. There's no such thing as a given 3 points in this league. You've got to earn your 3 points. You've got to earn your victories. You've got to go out there on the pitch and perform. The Carabao Cup final this Sunday, everyone's looking at Liverpool like Liverpool are supposed to just wipe the floor with Chelsea. Yeah, but that's not the context of the game, because we've got so many injuries. We've got players out. We don't even know if Salah and Nunez are going to play in that final. We don't know who's available
if you
or
let
not.
Chelsea win that cup, I'll tell you this now. If honestly, the fans will be insufferable yet again, man. They are the most deluded fan base. Can't stand their fans.
We saved you in Madrid in 2019. We
Yeah,
just
you
have to save
massively
you again.
did, man. I watched that game with the most nerves ever. That is the one Champions League game. That Spurs Liverpool game. I mean, luckily, it was the most embarrassing performance from any final team ever in Spurs. It was over in 20 seconds, but it was still nervous for me, man, because those fans, my God. But Chelsea fans are just, they're a nightmare as well, man. They do my face in. Their fans are just the most.
Remember the conversation we had about Poch, and see how 2 games later what happened?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I told you don't listen to these Chelsea fans. I told you don't listen to them. I told you.
Well, the problem is, I get people like Don on my
Poch isn't the problem anymore. Think about it. Think about it. He cannot be the problem by definition.
Well, if
You
he
give
wins the
any.
if he wins the trophy, that's going to be uncomfortable for Chelsea fans wanting him out. Can you
What are
imagine?
they gonna say? What are they gonna say?
But
I
I don't think
obviously
they will.
hope.
I think you'll win.
I
I think
need to
you'll
win
win
it
it, bro.
anyway. We need to win it anyway. I think it propels us. The Carabao Cup is not like it's probably the least important trophy this season we could win.
Still a trophy though, man.
Yes, it's still a trophy, and at the same time, the best thing about the Carabao Cup is it gives you that push for the last like 3 months of the season because it gives you
Mm.
the taste of success. And there are players
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
Liverpool Football Club who haven't won anything yet, like
yeah.
Nunez, like Soboslai, like Endo, McAllister, Gravenberg, etc. These players come in and they win their first trophy against Liverpool. It gives you, it's like giving a wolf, no pun intended, Spurs fans, giving a wolf just the smell of blood, and he just wants more type thing. So I feel like that's the biggest positive about it. Like these players that haven't won anything, it would push them to the next level to keep wanting to win and win and win and win and win. So that's what I like
I need
about the
to
Carabao Cup.
I need to get talking to Spurs. I need to get you on here with Deji, man. Oh my word. Deji last night reckons that Spurs first 11 is on par with Liverpool and Man City's.
The only thing Spurs have going for them, like that's actually strong, is their midfield. That's the only thing I believe is strong about their
I
team.
agree. I think
I
they're
think Romero's overrated
yeah.
extremely. I think Van de
Who,
Ven
sorry? Who?
is good, nothing
Romero, did
special.
you say?
Yes, Romero's very overrated.
Yeah, I
One of
don't
the most
he's rash,
overrated
man. He's
players
rash.
in the league.
He's
I
so
don't like
rash.
him. And people might not like this, but I think Vicario is overrated as well. They're doing too much. He's not the best keeper.
He's done well. He's done well, but they are making him out to be better than Alisson, but he has done well. But I think Van der Ven's all right, but Romero is rash. I don't get their front line. Like, if you're actually trying to tell me that Liverpool's front line is on par with Tottenham's front line, you're on drugs. They've got Brennan Johnson and Richarlison and Kulusevski.
It's only Son that obviously because he's been
Yeah,
there,
Son
done
is the
that.
only one,
Right?
right? It's crazy.
Yes. Son, I'd say Son, Madison, Bissouma probably start for us, but the rest is all Liverpool, to be honest with you. Big up, Mo. Big up.
Make sure you go sub to Judge Mo, man. Absolute ledge. Love Judge Mo. Listen.
Hey Mo, I'm not mod either. Pots. We need to
what?
get Pots
I'm
out
terrible
trending
with
in the
my
chat
mods.
right now.
Pots out, man. Pots out. I'm terrible with mods on this. Yeah, I've literally got about 3 mods. I think I'm terrible. I need to sort myself. I'm a fraud, man. I'm a fraud when it comes to mods. Let me chuck some of these questions at you, Husam. Right, where are we, man? I've got these. I did these with Saeed last week, and it was quite fun. So here we go. Okay, cool. Right, let's do this one first because we were literally just talking about it. So here we go. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League, man?
I hate my answer.
I know. I do as well. I hate my answer as well, but go on.
My earliest prediction of this whole season, before a transfer was even made, was that Manchester City are going to win the Champions League. I just, because they got that, like, that whole heritage thing and them not being able to get over the line thing off their back, they're going to win the Champions League again. I honestly feel, and I think, and you might not like my answer either, but I'll give you 2 clubs who I think could stop Manchester City in a 2-legged tie: Real Madrid and Arsenal. And I know, but listen, you could, if Arteta stops being a stubborn bastard and actually lets City have the ball and counterattacks them, you 100% could beat them. I don't know if you watched the Brentford game, but you're telling me Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus, had they been in the positions that like Wisa and Mopai were on, they wouldn't have made a better decision. They would have. Now, teams that could beat City in a one-off game, aka the final, Inter could, Atletico could, Madrid could. I don't think you'd beat them in a one-off game. I think you could beat them in a 2-legged tie, though.
Interesting, man. I'm looking at, and I'm not saying this just because Judge Mo's in here. I'm looking at Inter Milan and I'm thinking they could do it, They could do it. They're looking good. Defensively, they're good. They're good enough. And they've got some dangerous players, man. And their performance against Atletico Madrid, which is a side which is hard to beat, I thought they deserved to win. I watched most of that game. I've been quite impressed by them, man. And they're a team that no one's really mentioning. They're always talking about City or Real Madrid, but they could be the ones that could surprise. But if you are asking me, I'm with you. I think it will be Man City. I just hope they don't do another treble, man.
You know, your fan base lost its mind after seeing Porto park the bus. Imagine you face Atletico. What are you going to do with yourself then? You think Simeone is going to play
Simeone.
beautiful football? No, he won't. Simeone is going to do every single dark art in this planet. You realize if you face Diego Simeone in the Champions League, the only thing he wants is to just park the crap out of the bus, hit you on the counter-attack, dive at every single opportunity, get you as many yellow cards as possible, get you as many red cards as possible. He will try his best to just ruin everything Arsenal try. They're not going to press you. They're going to let Saliba, Gabriel pass the ball 600 times to each other. They don't care. You guys can pass it to each other, no problem. You realize if you've lost your mind this much because Porto parked the bus, you understand what's going to happen when you face Atletico if you do. It's going to be like, your fan base is going to lose their mind, honestly.
Bro,
They will.
They will. Massively will, man. I need to address something in this comment section as well because I don't like this every time that we lose a game. It's this kid's fault. Oh, Saka, where was he? He's not world class. He's rubbish. Like there was 11 players on the pitch, and the majority of them were goddamn awful. And this is the kid who gets the stick again. Lay off him, man. He's going to be a top player. Let's leave it. Stop comparing him all the time, man. It's ridiculous. Saka had a good game. Not Ronaldo, though, is he? Okay, calm down. I don't get it. Why does he get so much disrespect, Sam? I don't get it. Do you think he's harshly spoken about? I mean, you're Liverpool fans. You probably don't care, but Saka, like, I don't get it, man. I don't understand this hatred for him. 12 goals, 7 assists. Not really
I think
having
sometimes as fans we make the mistake of judging a player based on what fans say of him. Listen, I genuinely don't care. Genuinely don't care what Arsenal fans say about Saka. Did they do too much with saying he's better than Salah and he's like Vinicius level? Yes. But I'm not going to judge him based on that logic. I still think Saka needs to bring more to his game because there's a level of expectation. Like doing it season 1 versus season 2 is different. Like when you come back season 2, it's a bigger challenge because people know, like, okay, this Saka kid is talented. Let me try mark him more. But I think the way that you play football doesn't allow any forward to thrive because you always want them to break down a defense. You always want them to make a killer pass or score a goal or etc. And you don't give them that element of expressing themselves, which I think Arsenal are have a problem with. But for me, if you tell me Saka or Foden, I choose Saka over Foden. So I really like Saka, to be honest with you.
See, I had this debate on Straight Facts with LB, and obviously LB went Foden. I was trying to stick up for my boy, and it was very hard, to be fair, because Foden's done it on the world stage and he's won trebles, but he's surrounded by absolute like madmen. And if he has a bad game, no one cares because KDB is talking, or Haaland's talking, or Silva's talking. Saka has been like for the last 3 years the only one we can actually say has been consistently really good for Arsenal and has kind of carried us to games. And when you say, "Oh, he's carried us to what?" Yeah, exactly. We haven't won anything. Imagine if we didn't have Saka, where would we be? We would have been 12th, 13th, probably the seasons that we got 8th, and we would have been nowhere near Champions League without him, and nowhere near a
Also,
title
Foden is
race.
not a key player anyway. He's not a key player for City
Totally
winning
agree.
all these trophies.
Totally agree.
Genuinely, agendas aside, you could name. Okay, literally, let's do zero agendas whatsoever. You could honestly name 6 more important players for Manchester City. You could go Rodri. Not you could go. He is more important. Rodri, KDB, Ederson for the way that they play football, Ruben Diaz at the back. I'd go John Stones, what he done last
Stones,
season.
definitely. Yeah.
I'd go Gundogan last season. And I'd go Erling Haaland. That alone is 6, 7 players. You're mentioning them before mentioning Foden. But when I think about Arsenal last season, first guy I'm mentioning is Bukayo Saka. And you know, I'm sorry, don't take this as an insult. Think about what I'm saying. 4 years ago, City played PSG in the Champions League. People are comparing Foden to Mbappe. I want to ask a question. Why is Foden gone from the Mbappe argument to the Saka argument? Just think about it logically. I'm not insulting Saka.
Wow.
Just think about it logically. This guy was supposed to be compared to Kylian Mbappe. He was. We all remember 4 years ago what happened. It was all, oh, Foden is like, you know, in Europe, it's Mbappe, it's Haaland, it's Foden, blah, blah, blah. And now Foden's getting compared to Bukayo Saka, who at the time was playing left wing back for Arsenal. So let us now think, why has that happened? Because if I'm watching Phil Foden in 2024, I feel like I'm watching Phil Foden in 2019. I'm sorry, I don't see anything different about this game.
Love, bro. Love, bro. Love it. Anyway, it's not supposed to be Saka v Foden, that question, but we did it anyway. Let's go to let's go to some of these questions, my friend. Where are we? Okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to Liverpool and Arsenal. Who's the better manager?
Such a
Jurgen Klopp
troublemaker,
or
honestly. You're
Arsene Wenger?
such a troublemaker. I like how you got me on side with the Arsenal fans, and now I
And
can't
now
be
it's
on
like
side with
flip
them.
you back over.
My God. Listen. Ask the question. Ask the question. Let the people know.
Who's the better manager, my bro? Jurgen Klopp or Arsene Wenger?
They both have 3 league titles, but Jurgen Klopp has a Champions League. Jurgen Klopp, for me, the same revolutions that Wenger had at Arsenal, Klopp done at both his clubs. All 3 of his clubs, actually, if you include Mainz, because he got them promoted for the first time ever. Winning the league with Dortmund twice. I mean, ever since he left the Bundesliga, literally no other team has won the league other than Bayern Munich. And winning Liverpool their first league title in 30 years, plus a Champions League trophy. Listen, I've went to war for Jurgen Klopp. Like, I think Jurgen Klopp's pound for pound the best manager in the world. If we weren't going up against 115 charges FC, it would have been a completely different debate. And if my owners actually backed the club, that's why I am FSG out. So I go for Jurgen Klopp on this one if it's an overall career conversation.
Okay, I am going to agree with you, which is crazy. A lot of people might think I was going to say Wenger. No, I agree with you. I do. Yeah, Wenger got 3 titles, and unfortunately, if we were talking about Arsene Wenger's first 10 years, I think we could really have a serious conversation about how elite they both were. I think the last 10 years damaged his legacy massively, in my opinion. And I don't really think we can compete now with what Jurgen Klopp has done consistently against, in my opinion, the best manager ever. You may disagree. I think to him to even get close to doing that is pretty sensational. So I am going to have to agree with you and go with Klopp. And I understand that people might look at that and go, oh my God, Wenger won 3 Premier League titles and if he won FA Cups, he's won the most FA Cups. Yeah, he has. There's no manager that's won more FA Cups than him. He went unbeaten, invincible. He changed football. But I look at what Jurgen Klopp has done. He's won everything in football. He's won European trophies. He's won everything with Dortmund as well.
Yeah.
But not everything. But you get what I mean. He won.
If this is a Premier League question versus a career question, it changes. If you're going like, okay, who's better in England, then I have to say Wenger. I'm not delusional, of course, based on longevity, what he's done, all that. But if we're going career, I cannot ignore what Klopp done at Dortmund and at Mainz.
Exactly.
If you honestly actually go to Jurgen Klopp's managerial career and do your research, bro, this guy broke records everywhere he went. He broke records at Mainz, got them promoted for the first time ever, finished 5th with them, in his first season. He won the league at Dortmund, breaking records back to back, done a double. Comes to Liverpool, obviously, you know where Liverpool were when he first came in, like you're aware of it. And obviously winning us the league, winning us the Champions League. So if we're going career, I'd go Klopp. But if we're going like what they've done in England, I'm going Wenger, because Wenger done it for a longer period of time, won more league titles. So I think that matters
That's
too.
fair.
And yeah, so I think it just depends on the context of the question, basically.
Fair play, man. Here's another cracker for you. Gerrard or Kevin De Bruyne?
Steven Gerrard's the greatest ever Premier League midfielder I've seen with my own eyes. He's the only Liverpool player I actually believe is the best in his position in Premier League history. I don't think there is anything on the pitch Gerrard couldn't do. I'm not a player that compares individual players using trophies. Like, I think Thierry Henry is the greatest Premier League player of all time. I don't think it's Giggs or Scholes or whoever just because of trophies. Listen, comparing players using trophies, I think is unfair because of, like, every player is in a different position. Steven Gerrard is much bigger than just trophies. Steven Gerrard is much bigger than just trophies, because Steven Gerrard is actually, when you think about it, probably 80% of the reason why Liverpool have a global fan base to begin with. Like, that alone, like, he actually kept Liverpool relevant on the big stage for 20 years. And I think what Gerrard done in 04-05 cannot be replicated by KDB or any other Premier League midfielder. I think many of these midfielders that people like to mention, like a Paul Scholes, were the cog to the machine. But the problem is with Steven Gerrard is he was the machine itself. That's the difference. So for me, I go Gerrard number one. I think KDB obviously is climbing the ranks, keeps climbing the ranks. I don't care about who won this trophy, who won this much trophy, because look, when I look at it, let's go. If we go on the wing as an example, I think Cristiano Ronaldo, Hazard, and Salah are the three best wingers in Premier League history, in my opinion. These three: Ronaldo, Hazard, Salah. Not in that order, but these three are. And I think if we were to go via trophies, then I should put Ryan Giggs number one. But I feel like it's just weak, to be honest with you, because it's a simple question. If I took Stevie G and put him in this Manchester City team, not only does he have all these Premier Leagues, they probably have more Champions Leagues, because Gerrard is a much better big game player than KDB. And they won the one Champions League that KDB was injured in. Go figure.
Love it, man. Love it. Listen, all I ask is that you back up your opinions, and that is exactly what you're doing. You kind of segued nicely onto this one. This next question: in an all-time Premier League 11, does Salah start on the right wing?
Liverpool fans really won't like my answer, but usually what I do is I do Henry on the left, I do Ronaldo on the right, and I do Alan Shearer down the middle. That's what I do. That's
Wow.
like, just to give respect to Alan Shearer, because he is the all-time goal scorer. Like, we cannot just push that to the side like it means nothing, to be honest with you. But if I were to go to a prototypical one, I think Salah's the second best Premier League winger of all time after Ronaldo. So I go Salah, Ronaldo, Henry if I want to do a more modern one, if you would like. But listen, Salah for me is number two in the wingers category. I think Ronaldo was better than him. And obviously it backs it up individually. The fact that, he won a Ballon d'Or at Manchester United is obviously massive for him. He really was the best player in the world. He really had the streets by the you-know-what. Like, he actually really ran the streets as well back in the day. So I put Ronaldo probably number one, but I put Salah number two. And Salah could overtake him based on consistency. So because I feel like, look, 4 years ago, once again, remember how I done it with Foden and Mbappe? 4 years ago, people were comparing Salah to Mane. Now, no one 4 years later is having that conversation, because it's just a thing of like, consistency is king. What separates Michu from Harry Kane? Harry Kane done it for 10 years, Michu done it for 1. So that's the separation there. If you're a player that does it for 6-7 years, and you're a player that does it with different systems, with different players, with different styles, with all of that stuff, then you're just him, to be honest with you. And you could tell, like right now, before Salah went to AFCON, he was the top goal scorer and the top assister and the guy with the most big chances created in the whole league. And if it wasn't for a certain striker from Uruguay, he'd probably be on 15, 16 assists already in this year alone. So, yeah.
There we go, man. I happen to put him in my all-time 11, Salah. But I just switch it. So I put Ronaldo left and Salah right. That's what I do. And because I don't like putting Henry out on the left, man. Henry goes down the middle for me. I thought, like you, is the best Premier League player. Okay, interesting. Let's go to this one. Is Arteta going to become a top class manager?
He has to show it this season. He has to show it this season. This season is the biggest test for him. Like, if he doesn't deliver this season, I think every Arsenal fan has the right to be Arteta out. I don't think, because look, you've spent 700 million. You've gotten all the players that you want. You've literally, you've built the squad. All of these guys are your players. And the funny part is, probably the best performing Arsenal players aren't even his players to begin with, other than Declan Rice. Like Saliba at the start, if I remember correctly, I don't even think he wanted him to.
Emery. It was
Emery. Yeah, Emery's signing. You look at Saka, obviously he was there before he came in. Martinelli as well, I believe he was there before he came in. I could be wrong. So I feel like this season he must deliver. Now, the problem is he messed his chances up by getting eliminated in the FA Cup, getting eliminated in the Carabao Cup. It's not like It's not like had Arsenal won the FA Cup, everyone's just going to start jumping up and dancing and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's at least something. It's something to leave the season with. And now you've put yourself in a position where if you don't win the Premier League and you don't win the Champions League, you leave the season with nothing again. And I think that will have massive questions on him. In order to become a top class manager, you need to do your own stuff and you need to be a bit more flexible. And I think that is Arteta's problem. He doesn't have enough flexibility. So his stubbornness will lead to his downfall eventually. Or he becomes more flexible and he fixes up. So it could be both ways.
Interesting, man. Very interesting. I'm not going to go into my thoughts because I think most people know them. Let's take a look at this next one. Goes to the super chat earlier, bro. Which manager do you want to replace Jurgen Klopp? Because there's a lot of rumors, Husam, that Xabi Alonso may be tempted to stay in Germany, either stay at Leverkusen, which could happen. People have never questioned that, by the way. He could stay. But if he does go, they're saying that it's looking likely that it might be Bayern Munich now that Thomas Tuchel is going to be leaving. Where does that leave you with and Liverpool next season after Klopp, man? And who do you want?
First of all, we need to acknowledge that the manager market stinks. Let's just say it as it is. It's not like 5 years ago where it was like prime Mourinho, prime Conte, prime this guy, all these managers just available out here in the market. Like there really isn't that many options to begin with. Like we're not sat here with a plethora of fantastic managers to choose from. Like, second of all, I think Xabi would choose Liverpool over Bayern. I don't think winning the Bundesliga with Bayern is going to add much to your CV. Respectfully, Robert Kovac won it with Bayern Munich. Hansi Flick won it with Bayern Munich. Felix Magath won it with Bayern Munich. So I don't think winning a Bundesliga with Bayern Munich is going to do much for Xabi Alonso's career, to be honest with you. I think more, if he wins the Champions League with Bayern Munich, I hear that as an argument. But if he wins the league with Bayern Munich, I don't think that's a thing. So Xabi Alonso winning the league at Bayer Leverkusen would be fantastic. Fantastic, because it just follows the footsteps of Jurgen Klopp. Anytime a manager breaks the duck and just breaks the dominance of a certain team, I think that needs to be respected a lot more. Like the manager that broke the Juventus run in the Serie A was Antonio Conte, and look how he's regarded still till this day. Same thing with Xabi Alonso. By the way, people don't know this. Leverkusen were nicknamed Neverkusen. You know, I'm sure Dan remembers the season where they were supposed to win 3 trophies, ended up with none. Like that.
Yeah.
That was a crazy year right there. Michael Ballack, you know. And in their whole life, I actually done this, I actually researched this. They actually have 3 trophies. Leverkusen have 3 trophies in their entire history. So they're not even a big club like that, to be honest with you. Like when you think, if I ask you at the start of the season, who are like the 3 clubs in Germany you might expect to win the league or do well in the league, you'd probably say Bayern, Dortmund, and Leipzig, because these are the teams that are also always there in the Champions League, etc. So I think if Xabi Alonso wins the league with Leverkusen, he absolutely has to be the number 1 option. And if he doesn't, you've got to look maybe at an Amorim or someone like that. I do not want Nagelsmann. I do not want Graham Potter. I'd be iffy with De Zerbi. I'd be iffy with what's his name? With Hansi Flick. I'd be iffy with him. My priority, absolute number 1 option, which I think could be attained, but it's very small possibility. If you're to give me right now any option in the world, I'm taking Zinedine Zidane, because I think Zinedine Zidane walks into that dressing room, commands the respect of all the players. Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, Alisson, all these players are going to listen to him because that's Zinedine Zidane. And I think he's a fantastic man manager who knows how to work with these type of players. So number 1 option would be Zidane, Xabi Alonso, probably an Amorim after that.
Not Poch.
Out of the Premier League managers, I think he's the best one. 100%. Out of the Premier League managers that are attainable.
Better than Emery?
Yes.
Why
Emery
is
has
he better
failed
than Emery?
at both big clubs he managed. He has. He failed at Arsenal.
What's Poch won that Emery hasn't won, though?
Yeah, but you're looking at it from a 1 perspective. I'm looking at it from the perspective of the reason why Dan Potts has to invite Spurs fans on his channel and has to find Spurs fans to include in these conversations to begin with is Mauricio Pochettino. He literally made that football club something. Why are there global Spurs fans? Because of the Champions League. Why do people, you know, around the world follow Spurs? Because of what he's done over a 4 or 5 year period. The reason why we need to like find Spurs fans to get on these YouTube shows is that. I don't see you inviting, a Crystal Palace fan week in, week out, or a Wolves fan week in, week out. That was Spurs before Poch, let's be honest. They were nobodies. You just go look at the Premier League history of Tottenham Hotspur. It's like 14th, 13th, 12th, 11th, 10th, 15th, 9th, 8th. Like they never even cracked top four. So Pochettino made them a consistent Champions League club. And that is success at Spurs. This thing at Spurs even more impressive. The fact that Conte couldn't win a trophy at Spurs, Mourinho couldn't win a trophy at Spurs, Ainge hasn't won a trophy at Spurs, even Nuno Santo hasn't won a trophy at Spurs. So I think Spurs winning a trophy at Spurs is something that needs a miracle at this point, to quote Rasmus Højlund.
Well, listen, I'm going to disagree with you about the Poch to Liverpool. I think if you had Emery, he'd probably get you closer to winning things.
No,
But
I wouldn't
we'll
take
move.
Emery. I'd
We'll
be
move.
Emery out the moment he stepped through the door.
Let's go to these last few questions. Where are we now? This is an interesting one because it's not just Jurgen Klopp. So his life, Liverpool life, positive after Klopp. And what I mean by that is, do you expect to see Salah going with him, Van Dijk going with him, potentially Trent or Alisson looking at question marks? I mean, it depends who's coming in, of course. But in your brutal, honest opinion, are you still positive after Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool?
This question is the most "it depends" question in the whole world. So if I flip it on you now, go like, Dan, should Husam be positive if we get Graham Potter? It's easy because I honestly cannot answer this question because my owners will be exposed. So that's at least a positive. When people actually look at the owners and go like, yo, these guys actually don't care about football. I can't wait till FSG sell the club. But it really depends who we get. Honestly, it genuinely depends who we get because we could really mess this up. And we've seen it with your club, like, getting a manager like Emery. How dare you say Emery after Arsene Wenger, and a guy who was there at the club for a long time. Getting David Moyes after Ferguson. We've seen this messed up multiple times. That's why we need to make this correct managerial appointment. So it really depends who we appoint. It depends how much money we spend. Do I see everyone leaving with? I don't know why people think like Salah's gonna go to Saudi and all that. I don't think Salah's looking at himself and thinking retirement right now. I think he could still give 3 more years easily, 4 more years easily at the top level with sports science. The way he takes care of his body. The fact that obviously he's been very consistent. I think he could even go to a Barcelona or Real Madrid, not necessarily go to Saudi already. So I think I don't necessarily. Actually think Virgil van Dijk has a bigger chance of leaving this summer than Mo. I think he might want to do the whole Dutch connection thing, play for Barcelona, to be honest with you. But yeah, I don't see Liverpool necessarily falling off, but it depends on the decisions we make. We could fall off if we make the wrong managerial appointment.
Well, let's see what happens there. Last 2 questions, my bro. This one comes in. Is Alisson the best all-time Premier League goalkeeper?
No.
Who is?
Petr Cech. That's who I put
Wow.
as number one.
Okay.
Yeah, Petr Cech is number one. I think Alisson is absolutely phenomenal. But we also, as Liverpool fans, can't be that biased. Like, Alisson's incredible. He's unbelievable. He's elite. But I've got to go with people, who were there as well during the Premier League era, who were maybe a bit better individually. So I go Petr Cech, because even post-injury, he was unbelievable. And pre-injury, he was unbelievable. So I'll go Petr Cech number one. Possibly Schmeichel if you're a bit older as well.
Yeah, that's mine. That's my number one. Schmeichel was unreal. Petr Cech got the most clean sheets, though, to be fair to him in Premier League. So you have to say big up to that for him. But yeah, Schmeichel for me, unbelievable work.
The reason why you didn't put Petr Cech is because what he done at Arsenal.
Nah, man, he was. Do you know what? Cech was actually really good at Arsenal for his first year, but after that, he was done. Like really as a goalkeeper. But we tried keeping him for too long. Do you know what? Goalkeepers at the Emirates has not been fun. It really hasn't. We've had David Seaman and Jens Lehmann, the best probably after Seaman and Lehmann. You're probably looking at like some of the recent goalkeepers. Alex Meninga back then was underrated, and then you go to crap like Wojciech Szczesny or bloody
Chesney, Fabianski,
Fabianski, Almunia, all those crap players, man. They were
Almunia.
awful.
Didn't
Absolutely terrible.
Almunia cost you in 2006?
Yeah. Well, he cost us from 2005 to 2010. He was terrible, mate. He's one of the
Almunia was
worst
so
players
bad.
we've ever had, man.
I have no idea how he
Absolutely
survived at Arsenal that long, to be honest with
awful, man. Last question, bro, is this one. Who deserves a statue next to Anfield, in your opinion?
you. Jurgen Klopp? Of course. Jurgen Klopp. 100%. If it's a player, then the best player in the Klopp era has to be Mo Salah. So that's for me, those two, like Klopp and Salah. Best manager in the modern era for us, and Mo Salah is the best player in the Klopp era. Second best player in the modern era, though.
What statues have you got at Anfield? I wouldn't even know.
I think there's a Bill Shankly statue. I believe there's a Bob Paisley one as well. Could be wrong. I don't think we have that many, by the way. I think we've
No,
got
I
like
don't
2
think
or
you do.
3. Yeah, I think
So
we only have 2 or 3.
no Kenny Dalglish, no Ian Rush, no Steven Gerrard.
I actually think we
Salah
do have a statue. I need to check it. I need to check
Yeah,
it.
I don't know either, to be fair.
I need to check it.
The chat will probably know.
Bob Paisley, yep, I just googled it. Bob Paisley and Bill Shankly, as I said. I want to check if there's other ones. There's supposed to be a Dalglish one, I think. There's a Dalglish stand, to be fair, which is even a bigger honor than a.
Yeah, that is bigger than us. Yeah, as a stand. There you go. Dalglish has a stand.
Okay,
Juve. El has Juve. Can you imagine?
Oh, that's a guy who's definitely never getting a stand, to be fair. It's a guy who's definitely never getting a stand, to be fair.
Went to Bolton and tried to win with Big Sam.
That's definitely, he's definitely not getting a stand. I can confirm that.
Man, legend, man.
If Stevie G doesn't have one, then it should be Stevie G first, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I think Steven Gerrard should be ahead of Mo Salah and the others, in my opinion. But he was incredible, man. I still say he's one of my favourite non-Arsenal Premier League players, Steven Gerrard. He was just incredible and used to win games on his own. He was phenomenal, man. So fair play. Listen, bro, it's a pleasure always talking to you, man. That has been fun. Big up to yourself, man. I will put this comment up last. Actually, there was 2. Actually, one is a super chat, so I better get this in quick. It says people need to stop comparing Saka with Salah. Not everyone can be one of the greatest to ever play. Not everyone can be as good as Jota, even. I think it's crazy that Saka gets compared to all these players all of a sudden. It must mean he's doing something right. I just take it as a compliment, man. And then last, it's not a super chat, but I wanted to say this. Bob Mark says, Dan, can we big up Husam from Mo's stream to his own stream to this stream and even another one tonight? Big up, bringing the content. Mate, you're great at what you do, and I love watching you on all streams. So big up to yourself, man. Absolute legend for coming on. Listen, man. What have you got coming up tonight? How can people follow you?
You can find me at This Is Football, as you guys can see on the screen. I've got Al Ahwa tonight at 11 with Footy Judge Mo, who's been barking in the chat from the start of the stream.
Big up, Mo.
Footy Judge Mo, Staffy, Jacob, Ziad, and your fellow Arsenal fan Saad, who's gonna have one long ass stream ahead of him today. And it's not even gonna be me, it's always the Spurs and the Chelsea fans, always just waiting for Arsenal to lose to just be there. But these guys are gonna be there tonight at 11. But most importantly, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you guys are showing Dan the support and love as well. So big up to Dan for having me. And listen, this has been a fun stream. 100%.
Enjoyed it as well, my bro. Thank you so much. Make sure you go follow Sam on This Is Football. Make sure that you like and subscribe and get us up to our next target, which is 20K. So let's make sure that we can try and get there as a community, people. And we'll see you next time. Take it easy. We're out of here. Peace.